President Biden signed an executive order today directing the federal government to come up with a plan to regulate cryptocurrencies. The move follows what the Biden administration is calling the, quote, explosive growth of digital assets in recent years. Under the order, the government will coordinate efforts with financial regulators to get a better understanding of the risks and benefits of cryptocurrencies. The directive also calls for the exploration and consideration of creating a digital form of the U.S. dollar. Welcome
to today's show. You heard it. I've been saying it. And now we're rolling towards the digital dollar. Now, it's not a surprise necessarily, but it's in motion here in America. I've covered it in India and other countries that are now adopting a digital currency to be the currency of the country, so to speak. Well, here in America, the Federal Reserve will have their hand once again in what will be a digital dollar as we inch closer and closer to the mark. Now, you may remember a video that I did with Stephen Colbert on my now dead channel, where he was talking about blockchain being put inside of lab rats. They were doing an experiment, and everyone was laughing about it, like, oh, well, a mouse is gonna, or a rat is gonna, use currency and go and buy. And so, well, that story right there was telling you exactly what they have planned for humanity. And of course, they used humor and stuff to deflect off of it. It makes no sense unless you're fully awake and aware for them to actually put that on the air and talk about a subject that nobody would have even known was going on. But they try to make it absurd, seem completely absurd, when in reality, it's what they're trying to do. So all of that starts with a digital currency and getting to a digital currency. What you see going on in the crane, all of these things happening at once are all part of the New World Order playbook. The Great Reset, everything ties into what you see going on with the outbreak, what you see going on in crane, what you see going on with oil prices and gas prices to get everything electric. This is all part of Agenda 2030, and it's happening right now, and their foot is on the gas. I'd say they have both feet on the gas, and they have no intentions of braking anytime soon. The only reason you're not hearing about a specific outbreak right now is because there's so many stories coming out of a spike in a certain disease, which I covered in 2020, that I guess you could correlate with Magic Johnson, but just the more extreme side of it, actually happening around the world, where people are showing the same types of side effects and things like that. So they've taken their foot off of the media narrative of it, but of course the restrictions and all that stuff are still in place at hospitals and certain places that you have to go to do business. You have to be, there's still certain requirements because they're never going away, but they're just not talking about it right now. But let's get to the digital currency here. President Biden signed an executive order today mobilizing the federal government to create a strategy for digital assets like cryptocurrencies that promotes innovation in the industry while minimizing risks to Americans and the global financial system. Most notably, the order directs the Federal Reserve to research and potentially develop its own digital dollar, which would be similar to cryptocurrencies that have become a financial asset for some Americans in recent years. The order directs the Treasury Department to develop guidelines for Americans trading and using cryptocurrency that aims to help them avoid fraud or market volatility. Treasury will also do further research on the potential role of digital assets and blockchain in future payment systems. And again, it's amazing to me that over the last couple of years, since crypto has become so big in the last 5 years or so, that people actually think that they were going to allow something like that, and it wasn't a part of their plan, to have control of a digital currency. I mean, it's really mind-blowing, to be honest with you. But I mean, so many people have gotten wrapped up in cryptocurrency like it's an answer and we can finally get away from the feds. The feds are going to control all of this stuff. They're not going anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's called a digital dollar, if it's called Bitcoin, if it's called Ethereum, it doesn't make a difference to them. It's still fully controlled. It's still going to be something that's digital, and it's going to be digitally in you. And people need to really need to start understanding that and stop thinking, oh, well, this is a good thing because we're stopping the feds and I made a boatload of money in my investment in Bitcoin. That's great. Everyone's thrilled for you. But to think that this is an answer, that these people, that you're not playing into these people's hands, it's just being naive is what it is. So they say fundamentally an American approach to digital assets is one that encourages innovation, but mitigates the risks to consumers, investors, businesses, broader financial stability, and the environment. I always have to tie the environment in, right? Okay. Meanwhile, the Commerce Department will look to work and ensure that American finance and the dollar are still central to global business and trade. Other agencies will examine cryptocurrency's role as speculative asset and its role in illicit finance. So this is what you're going to see occur around the world. There's going to be a one world currency. Now, could that be that, well, we have a digital dollar here, and in other countries they have their own digital dollar, but they all transfer to one another automatically? So in other words, if you had, digital dollar in America and then you went to the UK, it would automatically transfer into euro, right? You wouldn't have to go to a pay center and give them cash and be handed back euros, because it's all going to be digital. So there's a chance that they don't come out and they don't go, it's a one world everything currency, but it'll all be working and flowing with one another. And I do personally believe it will end up being a one world currency, but in the beginning, it might not start off that way, because we're seeing countries ease into their own digital currencies. And people are like, that's what we need Bitcoin for, because they're against the Federal Reserve. No, they're not. No, they're not. Okay? The guy who came up with the idea of Bitcoin, if it was something that they didn't want to have, or they didn't want to use as a way to transition people into digital currency, the guy would have gotten 2 in the back of the head. Okay? They don't let people just come up with ideas that go against what their plans are and then go, oh, wait, this guy, George Glass, he made up his own currency and it seems to be taking off worldwide. All of the rich elite people are doing it too. From Elon Musk to all the celebrities and their crypto commercials promoting crypto. Oh, that must be real organic and natural. No, it never was. It never has been. It wasn't hijacked. It was part of their plans from the get-go. They would have stopped it from the get-go, because anytime a regular civilian would try to come up with their own currency because they didn't want to partake in their government's financial institutions, they would have stopped it from happening, and they have stopped it from happening in the past. So now we see this transition, and we'll continue to see this transition into digital currency. Unfortunately, we live amongst so many stupid people. They just think, oh, well, it's no different than using PayPal. Oh, what's the difference anyway? I don't carry cash. I mean, you can see the comments underneath videos like this, or my videos when I'm talking about digital currency. People are like, I don't like carrying a wallet. It's big and it's bulky. These are the types of things that all they have to do to manipulate and convince people is just get these people who are lazy, or people who are just like, oh, it is a little bulky to have a wallet. Okay, let's move to digital. They don't realize that this is all going to be digitally inside of them. It's insane to just realize that people don't get that, And then they aren't going to want physical cash or coins or gold or silver. That people are literally going to just go with this transition and be like, yeah, it's great. Because, look, last week or over the weekend, I covered Apple with the contact lens, right? This is all stuff that's starting to go in you. That's the phone. The iPhone is now going to be a contact lens. And people are like, I don't really see the big deal about it. It's not a big... you can't get any more closer to it being in your body. It's literally laying on your eyeball. Sooner or later, it's going to be in you, or you could just say, call so-and-so, and your phone's just going to call somebody, and the interface is going to be in your eye, and it's going to perform like a phone. People are like, that's crazy. Until it comes out, then they'll just be like, oh, okay, it's normal. Because they're being trained and prepped for that with all the predictive programming in the movies and TV shows. Well, it's the same thing with currency. It's just going to be something that's in you. People aren't even going to blink. They're going to be on board. So now we have our own government. And anytime that Joe Biden, and I know he's just another one of these puppets, but he's got to be the most irritating and annoying one I think I've ever seen. Anytime you have him on board with something like this, you should be a little suspicious. Because if you're somebody who's pro-crypto, then you find that Biden is siding with crypto or wants us to move to cryptocurrency, you should be a little suspicious that it's probably not a good idea or a good thing. Because it's not. It's part of their plan. It always has been.
If you've ever had this feeling